What's going on, guys? Your boy Joey Shake 72 coming at you guys with a video right now. So we have another day of training camp in the books today, and with 2 days left before the preseason opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I want to go over today's training camp. So let's get straight to it. Carson Wentz, 8th practice of doing the 7-on-7s. It's been 8 practices since he's actually done 11-on-11s, which he's not passed for physical contact yet. But Carson Wentz had a more than terrific day, a freaking fantastic day, throwing dimes between short passes, medium range to deep passes. He hit almost every target in close windows, and he just did absolutely amazing. I have a good feeling that he's playing week 1. And I'm going to say this, and I've been saying this every video, so you're going to get tired of it. Carson Wentz, in my opinion, is playing week 1. He looks too damn good and has been playing too damn good to pass up to not play week 1. As for Nick Foles as well, being out another day today with muscle spasms, nothing crazy. Nick Foles just said that, throwing too much with the same arm for a while. I guess he kind of, had a little bit of tension in the back of his arm, for a few muscle spasms, whatever it is, but nothing crazy, so don't worry about it. But Carson Wentz looking great. So it's interesting to see how the preseason is going to fold up, but at the same time, Carson Wentz is not going to get the opportunity to play in this preseason. I don't blame them for not putting him in. There's way too much at stake to really throw him in there. I mean, look, we're facing Pittsburgh this Thursday, and Pittsburgh's not playing Roethlisberger. A lot of their defense isn't playing, and Antonio Brown's not even playing either. Just like last year. We faced the Steelers last year as well at their home stadium, and still they had their starters out. But it's good to have a nice look at what we have. So Nate Sudfeld will get the reps. So on top of a little bit of a nicked-up injury, Zach Ertz, Marcus Wheaton returned to practice today. So them guys, Richard Rodgers as well. So all 3 of them returned to practice today, which is great. So nothing, they weren't hurt too bad. A little nicked up from camp. It happens. So all of them returned today for practice. Sidney Jones starts again at the nickel spot today, guys. Another spot started at the nickel for Sidney Jones. And, he's leading Devontae Bosby in that position. So I just see him starting in that spot. When I go over the depth chart, I'll go more analysis-wise on what's going on with that. But Sidney Jones looks like he'll be starting nickel for preseason Thursday. And he's had more reps than any other player. Jalen Mills has only been there only played there once. Bosby's been there about 4 or 5 times, I think 4 times. So Sidney Jones gets those nickel reps again. Nickel's a very important position. You're going to face those. You could be facing some, those speedy wide receivers, and Sidney Jones had a lot of practice doing that. Almost had a leaping interception today. Actually had a leaping interception. Ended up dropping the ball last second. So on a Joe Callahan pass, which again, he's getting his hands on the ball, staying at the hip pocket and doing his thing. So Thursday, all eyes are going to be on Sidney Jones. Nate Gary gets first-team weak linebacker spot reps today with the mix of Camus Grugier-Hill. Sorry, I can't say his name. So Nate Gary's getting that first weak side linebacker reps, which is good. I'm glad to see that he's on the top of the list because he's the guy that I really wanted to step up last year but didn't. And now I don't care. As long as all these guys are getting better every day, I don't care if they're first, second, third, fourth, fifth string. As long as they're putting in the work and they show up at preseason, and I see a lot difference than I did last year. And some of these guys that really want to play, then I really can't complain about it, and you guys shouldn't either. Because as we know, the linebacker spot's probably the weakest spot. As of right now, linebacker spot is the weakest spot on our team right now. Really. Theoretically, depth-wise, it's the weakest spot. And that's talking about depth, not even starters, okay? Between if Jordan Hicks stays healthy, which he's had a fantastic camp. Nigel Brown suspended the first game, thank God, just 1 game. And these other guys can step up. Linebacker spot's going to be good this year. Probably the weakest spot on our team. And punter, because the punter I'm not really a big fan of either. Nate Sudfeld has had a very strong camp. Now we're going to see a lot of Nate Sudfeld and Joe Callahan Thursday night. Nate Sudfeld has got a lot of potential you know, Nick Foles is going to be gone after next year. Now, Nate Sudfeld can be that backup guy for us, and I've liked him, seeing him last year. Like I said in my last video, I've seen him last year in that last Cowboys game. In training camp, he's very consistent. I think he overthrew Ertz today, but he dropped a lot of. He's very good on the fades and the over-shoulder throws, and he's been dropping dimes for a while during camp. He's been dropping dimes the past almost 2 weeks. It's been pretty good with Nate Sudfeld, but the problem with him is that he's got to stay consistent, more consistent. I'm not saying that he's bad. He's throwing interceptions left and right, which he's not. But there's always that one play where he totally is off and causes a turnover. So that's what pretty much happens. I'm happy with this kid, what he's been doing. And I want to see a lot of Nate Sudfeld Thursday. I want to see plenty of him Thursday, okay? Very important to see this kid because this kid could be our starting backup quarterback next year. And we want to see him work harder. And honestly, from the other fucking backup, the no-name QBs that we've had in preseason the last few years, like Matt McGloin, remember that fucker last year? That every time he threw the ball, I literally bit my fucking tongue because he looked awkward throwing the ball, and it was just horrible. And you can't give these guys... See, it's not fair because you can't give these guys, these wide receivers, any of these guys looks if you got a quarterback that's really not making good throws, at least appropriate throws. You know what I mean? So Nate Sudfeld's been doing great. I like the kid. Ever since that Cowboys game last year, I was like, man, he's got something. And he's getting coached right, and he's doing everything right. A little bit more tinkering. And we could probably get him at a really good pace to be something real special behind Carson Wentz. So keep an eye out for that. Matt Pryor, right guard, has, well, I think he's a left guard, has practiced against, he actually got a lot of reps against Haloti Ngata today. And actually, he blocked Haloti Ngata very well. A lot of eyes on him as well going into this preseason because we need that depth at that guard spot, okay? With Snooski and Brandon Brooks, who's really behind them too? Not much, really. There's not much. I don't think there's really anybody there. If Matt Pryor is stepping up at training camp, which he has, great camp as a rookie, playing left guard, right guard, even right tackle when Chance Warmack was thrown out of the game and Isaac Seumalo's really not doing much, which I want him to really get traded, get off this team. I could see him just getting cut, but I might just see him stay on this team just because no depth on the offensive line. Not much. But Matt Pryor could save the day for the guard spot with Vaitai swinging the tackle spot. You have Matt Pryor to go in there and do his thing. 328 pounds at 6'7". Just crazy, just big hands, and could do it all. But he had some really good reps against Haloti Ngata, which is absolutely amazing. So let's just see what happens with that. Derek Barnett got plenty of reps during training camp, especially today against Jason Peters. He actually beat Jason Peters today, which would have been a sack, but there was no, physical tackling at the time of this drill. Went right by Jason Peters with a nice little hook move and did his thing. Derek Barnett is against the best left tackle in the league, okay? And I know Jason Peters, they're not working him too hard every day. They're kind of having him like off days here and there because with those vets that are in the middle 30s, you can't really be working him too hard. He can play football, don't worry about it. But Derek Barnett needs the work, okay? With, 5, 6 sacks last year, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 strips. You got a lot. You have a lot in this guy that we drafted, last year. You have a lot. He has a lot more work to do, and he has so much upside with this defensive line, with this team. He has the best around him. He has the best offensive line in front of him to go against, okay? Whether it's Lane Johnson, whether it's Jason Peters, you're going against the best. So the best practice he is getting is against the best, and that's all that matters to me. So Derek Barnett, I can't wait to see him play and to see him progress into year 2. Other than that, guys, that's really all that happened that was really important today. I mean, some wide receivers, no-name wide receivers made some catches today, but, they just made some catches. It wasn't, nothing spectacular, nothing special. Bryce Treggs dropped a shit ton of balls. It didn't look good for us guys. Had a good day today either. But, it is what it is. It's not that's what pretty much happened at camp today. And 2 more days, guys, as we get into this preseason, and we get to really see what's going on.